That was Preludio in D minor by Barrios. And let's have a lesson on this piece and follow the lesson for free and pick up some of the tips that I'll talk about. But if you're interested, I do have a sheet music edition of this piece, and there's a link for that in the description. Really great little piece here at the late intermediate level. It has a number of different elements in it that make it quite a great little piece considering how short it is. Really beautiful melodic passages, so very memorable, almost like Tarrega-like passages in the piece. But there's also these counterpoint sections which are pretty interesting as well, and which adds quite a bit of compositional weight to the piece. And some other guitar effects like the harmonics section there with the little harmonics is very pretty. It also just hits a lot of the sweet spots on the guitar, so it just makes it a really nice piece with a lot of variety, both compositionally and on the guitar. So great little piece. The level is definitely like mid to late intermediate. You do, as always with Barrios, there's some chord shapes to grab onto. Less so in this piece though, because it's mostly like two voice writing, but there's also the harmonics that you have to play and things like that. So, and some navigating of the guitar, which is great because it hits a lot of the sweet spots on the instrument, but in terms of sound and tone, but nevertheless, I would say it's less awkward than most Barrios works, but still requires some practice. So of course, very strong melodic lines in this piece, so make sure you're practicing those on their own, and getting the shaping and the phrasing that you like. I think a little bit of rubato is appropriate here. It's a prelude, but also just in terms of the way the phrasing works and the kind of section-oriented aspect of the piece does lend well to some relaxation at phrase ends, and also in a few spots where, technically speaking, it's just really helpful to meld good musicality with technical requirements in the left hand especially. So I think we can just do a walkthrough of the piece though. I think that's enough overview of what you're doing. It starts off with some very melodic material. So you can just, relax up to when you're ending that phrase there. I would start this next section just a little bit cautiously because it's kind of a tough, even though it's a harmonic that you get to jump on, it's still kind of tough to grab that F chord with lots of accuracy. But that's a great place to just meld a little bit of like relaxation at the beginning of the phrase with the technical shift that's required to make it work really musically and work well. But then push towards the cadence. And then this little section with some counterpoint. Lots of different fingerings that you could use in that section. Mine are quite different than, for example, the Stover edition. I just felt that taking that chord note motif and just bringing it all the way down to first position made the ending sound a little bit more natural because I wanted to push a little bit and then relax that cadence. And same thing in the harmonic section here. There's a couple of different ways you could finger it. I've made a couple of choices though. I jump up to 12th position here because I want to sustain those two notes while getting that harmonic as well. I know like in other editions they'll play it here and then grab that wasn't right, and then grab the harmonic there. But I really think that grabbing the B or the G and the C sharp there is nice. It's a little bit of a challenge at first, but at the same time the harmonics ring out, so as long as you get your hand moving immediately after hitting the harmonic, you have quite a bit of time to actually grab those shapes, even though you're navigating the guitar quite a bit. Let me just do that again slowly. It's really not that difficult, and it's so short, so you just have to work each group very methodically. You know, just make sure you're successful. Make sure you're successful. And then combining it just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of work. I do use the metronome. Like I prepped this piece with the metronome just to make sure, because the technical requirements bring you all over the place and it's a little bit finicky. So I did use a metronome up to the point where I thought I could play the piece near tempo with the metronome. And then I turned it off, forgot about it, and added some relaxation into the phrases. But it's like a cautionary thing I do to make sure I'm not bending the rhythms too much because of the technical requirements. That next section, similar to the previous one, except in a different key here. And it continues this time and does it again. When you play this, make sure to emphasize the G. The G is the upper note, even though the high E string, open E string, feels on the guitar like it's the highest note, but it's not. So make sure your M finger there is emphasized so the E doesn't overpower it too much. So like I said, great little piece, lots to consider, lots to work on, but very pleasing and short enough that you can get it down pretty quickly despite all the navigation of the guitar. Making it a challenging little work for intermediate students, but definitely within their grasp because of the short length of the piece. You can just work each section quite a bit.